Well, I've got a special guest today. This is a special edition of Pastor Bob and Friends. And, my friend is an old friend, talented friend, and man, do we have some exciting things to announce today. So, we're doing a little bit different version of Pastor Bob and Friends today. Darren's not with me. All of the other effects and the people involved and all of that. We're just doing a little different because we want to focus on one thing and one person, and that's Hayden Cockrell. Hayden, hello to you.
Hello.
So, Hayden, you and I have been friends for a long time, and we started talking. Well, before I even knew you were an artist and a writer and a comic book enthusiast,
Correct.
and And so you started putting that all together. And Hayden, you've had a dream to do a comic book for a long time, right?
Yes.
Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I've really loved comic books. My dad got me into comic books, and he would always tell me about the stuff he grew up with. And I saw the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the theater when I was 4.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, it blew my mind. It was so good. And I just remember I loved Spider-Man is always my dude. He's my guy, and I
Yeah.
always wanted to make stuff like him. It's just been my passion for a long time. And as I got older, the more serious it became and the more mission oriented I got, with actually making it with a message. But yeah, I've always been making comic books since I was a kid. Since in 3rd grade, our teacher taught us how to make comic books. And ever since then, I've just been going for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
3rd grade, that's a long time. And you're how old now, Hayden?
21.
See, that's a long time.
It is.
It's a long time. So when you saw Spider-Man, you didn't want to be Spider-Man. You wanted to draw him.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be Spider-Man too. Everybody wants to do the. I used to have the little silly string web shooters, But
cool.
yeah, I loved the way the art looked, and I had Spider-Man sheets that were drawn by artists. So I always loved how they looked and stuff. So yeah, I wanted to create it.
Now, do you still have those? So you can just when you're alone in your room, you can go pew, 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 like that.
No, they ran out.
Which would be cool. I think you need to get some of those again. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're very good stress relievers,
Yes. Well, so tell me about this process and this project in particular. The metal. It's 6 metal guys. It's an amazing comic book, and the 6 guys are based on the different kinds of metal. And we'll show the cover of the book here real quick, but you'll see there are 6 different guys. And explain that each one of them represent a different kind of heavy metal, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that was actually your idea too. Remember?
I do remember.
Yeah, because you were like, "Oh, that'd be so cool if you could make it inspired by each genre of metal." And I was like, at first, I was like, "Oh, that's going to be challenging," because I didn't want it to be corny, to where people are like, "Oh yeah," and they say what kind of whatever. But it was more just kind of what's really interesting about each genre of metal is each one has a different personality attached to it. You meet different types of metalheads. So, for example, if you meet a glam metal type of person, they're generally more outgoing and more about stuff compared to a black person who might keep more to himself. So I tried to incorporate the different personalities of it, but it's mostly the visual styles that I had a lot of fun with. So there's a new metal, there's a classic metal, just kind of the old classic Dio.
Now, can you run down which characters are which for us?
Yes. Okay. So the leader is named Vanquisher, and he's just the classic metal. So he's just got the sweet spikes with the leather jacket, and he's just an all-around cool guy. Then we got Spectacle, who's the glam rock guy, and he's the dude on the cool surfboard on the cover. We got Speeding Beauty, who's speed and thrash metal, and she's got super speed, obviously. We got Magnus the Scourge, who's the giant black metal dude. And then we got Cauterizer, who's metalcore, so the more screamo, that type of thing. That's kind of where I'm at. And then Cyber Wraith, who's the new metal, kind of with the techno infused and stuff.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Awesome. And every one of the characters have a distinct personality, coolest guys, and kind of a Magnus, for instance. And if you're in Denmark, for instance, it's pronounced Magnus.
Oh, okay.
And it's more of a European name, and you're gonna get a lot of our European friends very excited because a lot of them are named Magnus. But Magnus and dude, then you've got the Reaper.
Yes.
Tell us about him.
So the Reaper, he's not based on any metal. He's based the idea with Reaper is like I wanted to, so it's a comic book, so I still wanted to be comic booky, but I also wanted to incorporate the imagery of like heavy metal. And if you go back and look in like the early 70s and 80s, all that awesome album art was always had like Grim Reaper type of characters. So I was like, oh, what if I like mixed that with like the comic book look, and I was able to figure out how to do some kind of thing like that. So that was the visual part of it. And then I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like, what if like, because if you look at every culture around the world, every single culture has a folktale about the Grim Reaper or like their character of what the Reaper is. And I was like, oh, what if like there's actually been a real guy going around for centuries, basically killing people and doing this around, and people just took note of him, and it's just the different ways that they looked at him. And what if he's been around for a really long time and he's like the really big bad guy behind the scenes of all this bad stuff? And I was like, oh, that'd be like a really cool concept. And so I also love the way he looks. Like I love like the big cape. Like I'm a huge like for that type of stuff. But yeah, that's Reaper's deal.
That's awesome. Now, I grew up with, well, I shouldn't say grew up. I was a little older, but Blue Oyster Cult, right? Don't Fear the Reaper. Is that right, Larry?
Yes.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Correct.
Don't Fear the Reaper. You know that song.
Yeah.
So the Reaper has been like you said, a central character in metal for a long time, and it's cool that you used that common character in a new graphic novel, because it really works there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So Hayden, I remember the origins here, where you started working on it, you started getting excited about this concept, and I remember the day that you sent me kind of an outline of what you wanted the story to be and all of that, which was awesome, by the way. And it just got more awesomester as it proceeded into becoming a book. And the storyline, it's one thing to be able to do some great graphic art, but a whole other thing to have a storyline that holds your attention and gets you going. And you start at the very beginning of the book and you can't put it down, because you want to know what's going to happen next. And this is one of those kinds of books. So it isn't just the most intense and awesome graphics you're ever going to see, just my opinion, but it's also a storyline that keeps you captured. Now, how did you come up with the storyline? Talk about that.
So originally it started with, we were on a FaceTime call and you were like, hey, if you were able to make a comic book that somehow incorporated metal, I'll promote it. And I was like, okay, let me see what I can do here. So I was trying to figure out a good way of how to incorporate that without being corny. And then one other thing you said is but you said it jokingly, but I was like, challenge accepted. But you said you wanted a pop star to be the villain. So I was like, okay. And I was like, I took it seriously. And I was like, okay, how can I do this? So basically, all of that to say with the plot, I was like, all right. So I want it to be like a classic, like good versus evil tale. And also, like, I'm a huge fan of Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. So I love like fantasy, but also love allegory. And that's why that drives me to do everything I do, to put a message behind it. So the message is what drove it. But when it came to actually like making the other stuff, I was like, okay, what if like, so there's a Grim Reaper who's like the main guy, but what if since he's like dedicated to getting his way and bringing death, what if he actually hides behind the scenes and he actually uses like popular pop stars to do it, using like different powers they have? And basically like, I just was like, oh, what if like we hit the time in the period of time where like now he's finally ready, like Reaper's ready to do his thing, and now this team, like we're watching it happen, like the full climax of this giant like centuries story happen. And I just kind of like, I just felt like at first I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. And then as I started writing, I just started like falling in love with it, and I would like rewrite stuff. And I just like mostly like what I did is I just made the characters first, and I just kind of let the characters drive it, and that just kind of like came about. And then I'm glad it turned out good.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, it's
yeah.
phenomenal. And now, Hayden, I wanted to point something out. This book says the authors are Hayden Cockrell with Bob Beeman, and I want to point out to people that my job has only been cheerleader. I have not done this work. Um, I have just I have just admired this guy and been excited about what he's doing, and I think that the whole concept has been phenomenal. Um, I am I'm real happy to be with Bob Beeman, but I just want you to know that this is Hayden's comic book, and again, I make a good cheerleader. Well, that is if I don't use the short skirt and the pom poms, but other than that, that's kind of been my job. And Hayden, it has been so awesome to watch you work through this. Now, this took you what, 16 months?
Yeah, it took me. I actually think it took me 2 years. Actually, it took me 16
Ah,
months to draw it, but 2 years from start to finish, like writing and everything.
amazing. And this isn't something you just did in your spare time. You got
No.
up at 5 o'clock in the morning and started working every day. And so this, when you look through this, Hayden, there is so much graphic detail. The art isn't just sketch. The art is all finished. It's all detailed. It's all, shaded, and it's all done the best you can possibly do. And every little frame, every cell in this is by itself, an artistic picture, every one of them. And it's 2 years to do this. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
So, I always complain when I write a book that it's a lot of work. And I'm finishing a book right now, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a lot of work, and I kind of struggle through it because, to be honest with you, I don't enjoy writing that much. I
Oh,
just
okay.
have a lot to say. So, but I know what kind of work that is. I can't even imagine the intensity of what this is. Now, how did you keep inspired every single day for 2 years with this dream?
Yeah, I kind of lost you there. The my Wi-Fi blocked out, so I didn't hear what the last thing you said.
Oh, how did you keep inspired? I
Oh,
mean, after 2 years of working on it day in and day out, how did you do that?
well, honestly, not by anything that I did, because I wanted
Yeah,
to give her multiple times. Like I remember, like when you first gave me the idea, I was super excited about it, and then like 2 days later, I was like, I can't do this, and I was like freaking out and almost like quit before I even started. And then I remember you, out of the blue, just messaged me and was like, "Oh, I just want to encourage you. I think it's gonna do like I think God's gonna use it." And so that was the beginning of it, but that's pretty much a pattern of these past 2 years. Is so many times I've been at like the brink where I was like, "This is like stupid. Like this is super hard. Like I suck. I'm not good." And then like what? Like I'm blessed to have an amazing group of family and friends who are very
yes.
encouraging. And like
And
and
that's the
even
key, isn't it?
yeah, because like there would be no way I'd be here right now if it were not for like everyone. Like, and it's like it's one of those things which it sounds corny and sounds like a cop out, but I literally couldn't name everyone because it would be the rest of the broadcast because I'd just be talking about
Yeah.
names. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got it.
That's awesome. And any vision that you have, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is, dream big. God is always dreaming bigger. But that dream is sometimes hard to really hold on to when you get tired of drawing, when you get exhausted from the vision, and that happens with any
Yeah.
vision, with any dream. And there's always those times where you struggle through it and you feel like, okay, this is stupid. This isn't going to work. Satan fills your head with all kinds of negative things. And that happened to you, but you kept going.
Yes.
So, on those bad days like that, how did you keep going?
Ooh.
There's a
Well,
deep question.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like, there's like the obvious answers like prayer and stuff like that. Like that's like
Yes.
that's like a given. But then there's also sometimes I just had to grit it. Like I learned, and I don't think that's the long term like strategy. But sometimes you just have to just grit it and just wait for to get through the day, and just because sometimes like I found I would have really bad days and I would just have to make it through, and I'd wake up and I'd feel way better. So sometimes it's just like an attitude. A lot of times just being able to talk to somebody about it and just be like, oh, I suck. And also too, like, not even like for me in the very beginning, I thought that encouragement was like, I need to be told that I'm like good. Like I need to be told that the art is good. Whereas like the best encouragement I've had is people saying like, even if the art isn't good, it's not your worth. Like that's not who you are. And that stuff actually helps the best because it's not trying to, because what if the art is bad? Because that's totally possible. Like there's like if you draw something that looks like really, really bad, you know what I mean? Like you can't just like brush over that, but it's like just people like encouraging you that it's not your worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, that is such a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Hayden, people might not know that you really are our main sanctuary artist.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of posters and we've got that I use for my coffee break, that are T-shirts and coffee mugs, and here's one of them. This is the one we're using right now. This is the new one. I am a
Yeah.
victor, not a victim. We just introduced it today with posters and T-shirts and the whole thing. And Hayden, you've been drawing all of these. This is your artwork. But wait, there's more. You're also the artist behind Metal Dude.
Yes.
So talk about Metal Dude for a minute, because you've had a lot of fun with this one, haven't you?
I have. Metal Dude's really fun because like the way it came about was just simply you wanted to get another opportunity for my art to get out there. And you gave me once again you gave me the idea, so you're like the brains behind the operation. But
Wow,
but
you're in trouble then.
But yeah, I was like, well, like I want to use it to encourage people. And at first I was like, oh, I want to like do like a cartoon and like just dive deep into deep stuff. But then I was like, well, like I don't think things have to be deep all the time to help people. Yeah, and like and especially doing Metal Dude, we found that the ones that seem to get the most engagement are the ones that just brighten people's day for a little bit. But it's basically just kind of like the adventures, I guess, or the stuff that metal people go through on a daily basis. So sometimes it's like metal people who like, and it all comes like anytime I'm like making fun of someone or something in that. It came from like myself. So I'm making fun of myself, So there's like the tough guy where he thinks he's tough and then he orders coffee with extra love, and like stuff like that. But
extra cream, extra sugar, and
extra cream, sugar, and love. But yeah, but just like stuff like that where I've just had a lot of fun. And it's also like, it's a nice break because it's a nice little small thing to do. It's not like this big old huge thing. And it's like, it's been fun to do.
But they've been awesome. And Hayden, we've been talking about after a certain point, we'll make it into a coffee table book.
Yes.
And that's going to be fun to do. The Adventures of Metal Dude. And it's just been fun. So Hayden, this is such a huge accomplishment, but you're not done yet, are you?
I'm not.
If I know Hayden, he's probably already thinking, okay, for my second book.
Correct.
But you've got a lot of great things ahead, and not just comic books, but so many things that I'm sure that will lend your talents to. And you and I are already talking about. I'm going to actually reintroduce one of my older books with your illustrations. And so that's something to look forward to. And plus, you never know what we might come up with. Isn't that right?
That's right. Look where we are right now.
I know, because we're cool like that.
We are.
So Hayden and I have decided together to dream big, to capture some of God's dreams. And Hayden, when you believe that God has given you a vision and you are willing to dream big, this kind of stuff happens, doesn't it?
It does.
And so now you're an artist. Now you're an accomplished author. Now you have a book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all the different places that you can purchase this now. You can literally, honestly, walk into any bookstore, and if they don't have it there, you can order it. It's in the books now, and
Oh,
you can order from anywhere. But the coolest thing is you can also order it from the Sanctuary Metal Shop, and we'll
yes.
put that address here below. wearemetalwearfamily.com, and not only the comic book at a reduced price. You're cool like that, dude. Hayden is giving this to us as a little reduced price. So if you want to order it there, and we're just waiting for them to get in, we'll have them in stock. This is so new that we haven't even received the first shipment. We've just received single copies. But
Yeah.
so that's on its way. But that's not all. Tell us about what else is coming along with the comic book.
I think we've got some sweet shirts with the Crimson Six logo on them.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome. That looks awesome. Very cool. And mugs probably, would you say?
I believe. Yeah, I forgot we have bugs.
Those will be there real soon.
Yeah.
And I've heard from a little birdie that there might be a special price for the comic book and the mug and the T-shirt if you get all three. And I'm not telling you what little birdie I heard it from, but he's sitting right here beside me, and his name is Larry the Bird, not Larry Bird, because that would be somebody else, but yeah, but Larry the Bird. And but there's a lot of cool things with this comic book coming.
There are. Thanks to all the Sanctuary family too.
Yes. Well, we're all excited about it, and it's so great to have Hayden as part of the Sanctuary family. And you're going to be hearing a lot more of him in the future. And we're not going to announce that yet, but you'll see him a lot more before too much longer. Him and some other people that are into the comic part of it, things. And if you like comic books, and if you like graphic novels and this whole genre, we got some pretty exciting things happening before too much longer, don't we?
Heck yes.
Can't say it yet, but it's all coming along. Well, Hayden, you're awesome, dude. And thank you so much for all of this work. This is a huge blessing to comic book enthusiasts everywhere, but just the heavy metal family specifically. And folks, whether you're into comic books or not, I have never been a huge comic book reader, although I like the movies. I'm a Marvel fan, and I like Spider-Man, and I grew up with Spider-Man, that TV show, and I grew up with Batman. So I watch everything on TV and love that stuff, and I love the movies. I've never really read the comics, but I like what's in here, So this is a game changer, and this is in so many ways the first one of its kind. And it's not the only one, it's the first one. Did I say that right, Hayden?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I can't verify that actually, but we'll go with that.
Yeah. And Hayden's thinking, okay, it takes me 2 years. Let me rest a little bit before we get started on something else.
I mean, I've already got the second one plotted out. It's just a matter if anybody wants a second one. That's the thing. Because this one might be terrible. You know what I mean? So we gotta wait.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I should have known. Well, Hayden, blessings to you, and I love you, my friend, and I love what you're doing, and I love that you've given the metal community this gift, and it really is that. It's really awesome. And folks, don't forget you can go to Amazon and get it. It's the Crimson Six, and you can get it there very soon in our own store. Yes, in our own store, the Metal Shop. You'll be able to get it there and purchase that along with the T-shirts and the mugs and all that stuff.
You already sold a shirt.
All the stuff. And Larry just told me we already sold shirts.
Yeah,
How about that? And it's only just gone up, and people are already excited about it.
Dang, well, thank you about that.
That's awesome. And lots more to come. Well, we're excited. Hayden, thank you.
Thank you.
You joining us, and I appreciate you. Folks, don't forget to go out and look for this. Order it on Amazon, or specifically order it a little bit cheaper on the Sanctuary Metal Store. It'll be there with, like we said, the mug and the t-shirts, and we're excited to get it out. Hayden, God bless you. Thank you, dude.
You too.